Low pressure dispensing process. Concrete crack repair. The first step in the process is surface preparation. Rough up the surface with a wire brush and remove all debris, including paint. You will need to clear an area 3/4 to 1 inch on either side of the crack. Next, mark the port locations 3 to 4 inches from the ends of the crack. Space port locations along the length of the crack every 6 to 8 inches for a typical crack, closer for wider cracks. Next is injection port installation. The ports are held on and the crack is covered over with a 2-part epoxy. The Jake dispensing gun equally dispenses the A and B parts of the epoxy paste. The epoxy cures in about 20 minutes and has a 5 to 10 minute working time. Mix the 2 parts to a consistent gray paste. Dispense only enough as can be applied in 5 to 10 minutes. Between ports, apply the epoxy an 1/8 inch thick on the crack, overlapping 3/4 to 1 inch on either side. Apply a thin bead of epoxy to the bottom of the port, such that when the port is placed on the surface, the bead neither clogs the port opening nor extends beyond the base. Position the port over the locating mark and apply a 1/4 inch epoxy paste over the base of the port to hold it to the surface. Be sure to blend the epoxy on the base of the ports with that covering the crack. Work in this same fashion until all of the ports are installed on the crack. Mix additional epoxy as it is needed to prevent it from hardening before use. For cracks in corners, a corner port is available. Its design allows it to fit snugly into corners. The flange of the corner port is perforated so that it can be bent to fit the corner tightly. Apply epoxy to the base of the corner port, keeping the center hole free from epoxy. The next step is injection of the injection material into the sealed and ported crack. Be sure the epoxy has cured 20 to 30 minutes. It's ready when the surface can't be indented with your fingernail. A hairdryer may be used to speed the curing process or in cold environments. Prior to injection, the crack should be wetted from both the inside and the outside if possible. Wetting from the outside will confirm the source of the crack. On the inside, wet from the top port down to successive ports to confirm the crack is continuous. Urethane reacts with water to form the sealing foam. Epoxy injections are unaffected by water. The mixing nozzle mixes Part A and Part B fluids as the Jake gun dispenses them. Discard the initial 1 to 2 ounces of the injection material to ensure proper consistency and to remove air bubbles. The injection hose allows injection in hard-to-reach spots or behind obstructions. The hose clamp allows the flow to be shut off when the hose is moved to a new injection port. Squeeze the trigger until the spring compresses and let the pressure of the spring do the work. Squeeze the trigger only enough to keep the spring active. A less neat alternative to the injection hose, the mixer tip can be inserted directly into the port. Beginning with the lowest port, inject into the port until it accepts no more fluid or begins to flow out of a higher port. Then remove pressure from the injection gun or just clamp the hose and cap the port. Move to the next port and begin injecting again. When the final port is reached, inject it until it accepts no more fluid. The caps can be removed if additional urethane needs to be added to the ports. When in place, they force the urethane to expand into the extents of the crack. The urethane requires about 1 to 3 hours to fully set, after which the surface seals can be removed. The epoxy requires 1 to 2 days. After curing, the injection ports can be easily snapped off. The crack has been filled with a pliable yet waterproof foam, and the sealing epoxy can be chiseled off and the surface refinished. In epoxy injections, the ports also snap off easily. The steps of the low pressure process can be summarized as follows. Step 1. Clean the crack area by wire brushing the surface surrounding the crack. Step 2. Surface seal the crack with epoxy by applying 1/8 inch thickness between ports and 1/4 inch over bases of ports. Step 3. Attach hose to the port on one end and to the static mixer at the other. Introduce water into the crack either from outside or inside to confirm that the ports have been properly placed. Step 4. Begin injecting urethane or injection epoxy using only pressure generated by the spring on the jake tool. Squeeze the handle only enough to keep the spring activated. Step 5. On vertical cracks, begin injection at the lowest point, working up the crack from port to port. On horizontal cracks, begin at one end and work toward the other end. Step 6. After initial pass, return to ports to determine if additional material needs to be injected. Step 7. Allow 2 hours for urethane to foam before removing ports and the surface seal. Allow 1 to 2 days if injecting with epoxy. Surface seal can be chiseled or ground off.